Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 16th episode of Visioncon Spotlight, your in-depth look at the nerds you love. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but you didn't come here to see me today. You came to see the man of the hour. He's an incredible artist, creator of Mammoth Press LLC and Potbelly Mammoth. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Nate Howard. Nate, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. How are you? Awesome intro.
I was about to, you guys wouldn't know this, but I flubbed up the first intro, so we had to do a second one. But we nailed it the second time. So
if only you'd written something.
Yeah. No, it's all off the top of the head finally. But Nate, I'll be honest with you. I love you. A lot of people love you and your work. But for the folks watching at home who aren't familiar with you quite yet, give them the pitch. Tell them all about Potbelly Mammoth, Mammoth Breath LLC, and just Nate Howard.
Okay, that's a really big question because I'm still grabbing at straws. But no, I'm Nate Howard. Mammoth Press LLC is kind of my it used to be like an umbrella, but it's kind of building into an empire that I do everything creative under. My bread and butter is mostly like graphic design and illustration, like logos and branding packages for local businesses and other creators and other entrepreneurs and all that. The administrative, logo knockout and business cards and event flyers and all that stuff. That's the stuff that, kind of keeps me afloat. But on the other side, also under the Mammoth Press, I guess, umbrella is all of my other creative things like Potbelly Mammoth, which was is a comic series that I do ended up doing a self-published book of, and volume 2 is currently on Patreon with Potbelly Mammoth. That's kind of my outreach, my cartooning, almost like stand-up comedy, but I don't have the guts to do it. And then the arcade cabinet and the gaming is also part of it. Again, it took artistic skills and designs from my experiences to do that. So it's like grabbing darts and seeing what sticks. But
well, speaking of what sticks, let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of your logos, design, and some Potbelly Mammoth real quick. Give me 1 sec. All right. So this one, I want to know all about this one, Nate.
Okay. So before I went independent, I was actually on a graphic team at my last employer, and I'd been there for like 13 years. But the last 3 years, they put me on the graphic team, and I was the creative one that they let do their quarterly meetings. Usually, they would just pull some little comic strip off of Google and put the dates on it and times and whatnot. So every quarter, I got to be the one that. And I worked at a box plant. So for me to turn, a bunch of cardboard boxes into it was a great opportunity. Every few months I got to make a really cool flyer to make, and just be ridiculous. And they were totally fine with it. And I got to use some of their branding for it. So this was one of my favorites.
I was about to say, I love how the robot that's kind of destroying the city is actually made out of boxes. That's really unique and cute.
Yeah.
And so Paint Ninja, we've got, now this one I really enjoy. You've done a great detail in, the Mandalorian helmet. I'm not too familiar with a lot of deep Star Wars lore, but kind of walk me through this one.
So that is one of, in the short version is that there's a point where Darth Maul takes over the Mandalorians, and there's these elite group of troopers that have like a handprint over his faces. So this is one of the Mandalorians under his lead. This was actually a commission. I did dice towers for a little while when I was doing the graphic design thing at my last employer. That we also had like a really high quality digital printer that could print on like direct onto corrugated, like onto cardboard, and then a big drafting table or a big cutting table that we can cut this stuff out. So they were always curious like what we could do with it, and this is just one of those things that I just came up with a little help of the design team downstairs for the structure. But this was a custom commission. He's a huge Mandalorian fan, and not Mandalorian the series, but
the characters in the
right the race. So and that was just a lot of fun. I got to use a lot of texture brushes, and I actually created most of my texture brushes for this.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
it's a step aside from the cartooning, so that's why I like doing stuff like this.
Sure. And I mean, you definitely, this is, an established part of the lore, but you kind of made it your own, which, speaking of making something your own, these next two photos will probably look familiar to people who are fans of our sister show, Pen Click. The first one is, so for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Pen Click is a monthly series that is actually hosted by Deanna Powell, our very own Deanna Powell, where you guys kind of take a character from a certain fandom and kind of recreate it. And so this one, correct me if I'm wrong, is Dr. Bond from DC, correct?
Right. No, well, no, he's from Marvel. He is the villain of Howard the Duck.
Oh, okay.
He was a big, swollen dude, that he is a scientist, in physics. It had a huge bell for a head that if he rang it, he would do destructive things to people, and he could time travel with it and everything. But he would hit his arm was taken off in an accident, so he had this huge ball clacker that he would ring his bell and wreck everything. So yeah, we had to take that character and kind of come up with our own version of it. And this was a lot of fun. That's why I included this one, because everything you guys have been doing with Visioncon and between you and Deanna, you guys have been, I don't know. It's just, this is kind of what we live for, having the opportunities like this. And I wanted to include these. You guys are working your butts off, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, continue. But no, the next one, and this one gave me kind of the heebie-jeebies. Baba Yaga, this was your guys' most recent one.
Right.
And so this was your entry. Kind of walk me through, and for those of you that aren't too familiar with Baba Yaga, kind of what is Baba Yaga, and kind of how did you make it your own in this?
So Baba Yaga is, in short, an old lady that is in Slavic lore, where she lives in this hut out in the woods, supposedly with chicken feet. That I guess people that seek her, she may help them, she may hurt them, but she's also been known to lure in children and eat them. So she's kind of the original witch story. Most witch stories and old ladies preying on children kind of stories, they kind of stem from her. And there's been a lot of variations in the event of different time periods or different positions in her life. And I was just frightened by the idea that there are actual animals that have been able to develop appendages that are used as lures to hide and then dance to attract food. And then when they come after them, they strike, and it just frightened the hell out of me. So
yeah, you and I both. Oh my God. Well,
so what if the old lady was actually just a puppet of something bigger?
much more bigger, with much bigger teeth.
Right. Yeah.
But kind of jumping ship to a much more, nicer topic. Let's talk a little bit about Potbelly Mammoth. You mentioned it a little earlier, but
sure.
Tell me how it came about, what the story is kind of about, and most importantly, tell me about this little guy up here, the little mammoth guy.
All right. Well, the backstory of Potbelly Mammoth actually takes place almost 20-some years ago. It's an inside joke that Swadley, the big guy, who's also the co-star of all the characters, are based off real people in some way, some more directly than others. But Swadley, the big guy, my right-hand man in the comics, and my best friend, we discovered this article about a mammoth that was frozen in ice and that it still had food in its stomach, and we thought, holy crap, we could totally have that cloned or reanimated. We could have a mammoth in our lifetime. And we got excited, and then there was a footnote about a femur of a T-Rex that actually still had bone marrow in it that we could clone. And it's we know that that's a horrible idea, but we should totally do that so we could actually see the two of them together. And at the time, we didn't realize that they didn't live together at the same time period. But what if they fought? What would that rematch look like now? But unfortunately, we have all these animals that we can clone a woolly mammoth to be somewhat accurate to what we would expect. But a T-Rex, the closest ancestor to a T-Rex is a chicken. So if we had this little chicken-sized T-Rex and this almost full-size, maybe elephant, more mastodon-sized elephant, that fight wouldn't really work very well. So we had to come up with a way to take our teacup T-Rex and give them a good fight against an equal-sized mammoth, and we thought Potbelly Pig. So the Potbelly Mammoth idea kicked around in my head for a better part of 15 years. It captured my imagination more than Swadley, And then, but he let me bring him into the series. My wife is in the series. She's actually in Shanoa character by name. And I don't know, it's just something for me to just reach out and be like, hey, I do things. And it's something I could do on a regular basis to test my discipline. And it's been a great outreach for like getting work that's completely unrelated to cartooning. But I don't know, it's a great project. Eventually, this is what you're seeing here is the cover of volume 1 of the first 100 strips that I didn't know I would ever even get that far, but I did. And so I wanted to commemorate it. So I got, books for sale on the website. And then volume 2 currently on Patreon.
And you already have such a full plate. It leaves one to wonder, where do you find time to breathe? But you not only do all that, you also do streaming. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, streaming video games online is not a new concept. It kind of seems everybody has a gaming channel nowadays. However, you take a different spin to it that I kind of want to talk about. How do you kind of differentiate how you stream games that kind of caters to more of an arcade style?
Yeah. So this was one of those projects that just kind of snowballed. It started with an idea of me just designing the arcade cabinet. I found an old program from way back in the day called SketchUp. And I thought it'd be kind of neat. I had some time. So I spent a couple of days just designing a cabinet. And then I started whittling it down to actual dimensions and making it to scale. And I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. Somebody should make that. Well, I've made some cool things working for the box company doing like cool displays and everything out of cardboard, but I've never actually made anything by hand out of wood. So, the idea didn't really come to me until about a day after I finished the design that I was like, I was going to buy a TMNT 1-up arcade, but then I saw that they're like 4 foot tall and I'm like 6'3", and I'm a big dude. And there's 4 players, but you're gonna get 4 people like me around this tiny little thing. Like I'm gonna mod it anyways. I'm gonna end up putting more buttons anyway. So I might as well just build one. So I did. I had some friends that had some tools because I don't, and they were very gracious to let me borrow them. And I made the statement mistakenly that I was gonna do this, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you should totally do that." So then I was stuck doing it, and about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I have a cabinet. It's,
You can kind of see it behind you, but
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to take a closer look, do not worry. I got you guys covered. So give me 1 sec to share the screen.
So a lot of the major features of it, there's an example of it right there on Steam Link, as I didn't even realize that the software I used in the Raspberry Pi, it's RetroPie and Raspberry Pi powering the whole thing. Is that there's software that's available of Steam Link. So I can not only play whatever classic arcade and classic console games I want, I can directly link it to my gaming PC and my design PC and play current gen games on it, provided the controls work for arcade setups. Right. But it also has a Bluetooth feature. So I have Xbox and PS4 controllers like mapped for it via Bluetooth in case there are games that I can't play. So it's just kind of like snowballing. It's just growing into a bigger and bigger thing. And with COVID, as much as I have a YouTube series that allows me to have personal interviews with really cool friends and other creators and entrepreneurs playing their favorite games. But not everybody feels comfortable being in person, because COVID would be crazy. So, and rightfully so. So it was inspired by some friends of mine that I should consider doing streaming just to kind of bring it to people in the comfort of their own homes. And it, I don't know, it took off pretty well. It definitely caused a wave. So
now, where can the folks watching at home find your stream so they can check out how this behemoth works?
Sure. I stream through Twitch. Mammoth Press, all one word, is my Twitch account. Usually I stream, I multi-stream, so I'll stream to there and it'll copy on my Facebook page at Mammoth Press LLC on Facebook. So all my, Mammoth endeavors are usually shared on the Facebook page. But give it a follow. I mean, I'm still just a baby in the streaming. So far, I've had a lot of help and a lot of advice. So I kind of hit the ground running just as soon as I first started. But I'm still in the follow, baby stages. I'm not affiliate yet, but
Well, not only can you see this being played, ladies and gentlemen, but if there's any of you out there that have fallen in love with this product and would like to maybe get your hands on one, well, guys, I have great news because you can. Nate, tell us all about how the folks watching at home can get their hands on one of these.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun making this, and I did it within 2 weeks. The design worked out great for me. There's small things that, you know, that I adjusted in the process. Overall, I really enjoyed making it. And it's cool enough that I have this thing, but it's cool that I can share it with other people. But it's like, I know that there are a lot of people like me that would love to have an arcade cabinet in their own home. And so I thought, why not? I actually have three different models. The third is I'm still in the sketching stage. I haven't shown it yet, but yeah, I'm opening the Mammoth Press multi-cade actual design and building side of things. So
explain to me the difference between the big model and the full encompassing one, and then this model right here.
All right, so most of the meat and potatoes of the console itself is just in the controllers and like that control deck you see. It's about that thick.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that has pretty much all the hardware in it. In the cabinet behind me, I actually have it sitting on a shelf, like below the TV, because the TV is mounted. So I have everything just kind of arranged neatly. But really, it's just like one of those fight stick consoles. It's just custom shaped and sized and bigger. So the thing is if you already have this was some local businesses that have been asking about, having some of these units. Having that podium style, because a lot of them already have big displays already up on the wall. So if they just moved a table and pushed that podium up against the wall, I mean, it's cheaper, it saves them money. Plus, if they want more space between the players, if they want it bigger, it'll accommodate for much bigger displays and bigger setup. So that's just a great alternative. I want to actually build one and do con circuits with Clever Kaiju. I want to build one of these and have like a projector, like 1080p projector built into the sub level, so it'll project directly in front of it. So it's just more convenient, more space conscious. I think for businesses, there's a lot of display options that they already have that they don't really need a whole cabinet to take up real estate. They already have a space for it. So.
And so for as cool as the Mammoth Press LLC artwork is on it, this can be custom artwork could be added on this, correct?
Yes. Absolutely. Every inch of this was actually provided by a local printer here at the OTC print shop. So shout out to Jeff Warner and his team.
Heck yeah.
I've got a printer in my pocket that that does all this stuff. This is all printed vinyl with a coating, outer coating on it. So it's like protected. You can get acrylic sheets to put on if you'd like, but this has like a laminate coating on the outside of it, so it's very well protected. I've been beating the crap out of this thing since I built it, and it's the artwork is very clean, very so. But again, this is just my example. This is just what I did with my own branding. But I can design anything. I can pull anything that suits your unique style and space.
Nothing Nate Howard can't do.
Yeah.
And if you guys see right here down below, there's the information that you can to order one of these, or I've got all the info and links down in the description box below. And so, Nate, before we wrap things up, I did have two more questions I wanted to ask you. The first being, for anybody watching at home that are wanting to get into art or are already an artist but kind of want to improve their skills or kind of want to know what to do next in order to, maybe make this a living, what kind of tips would you give them?
Find a community. Find others like you. It's not supposed to be a competition. Everybody is unique in their own style. And understand that the world will always need another artist, another creator, another thing that you do is unique to you. Don't ever just count yourself out because, well, does the world really need another cartoonist, another, yes, absolutely. Especially nowadays with the world pretty much stopping cold. Like the world as we know it has ended. There was a time where being an artist, if you didn't work for like 3 major names, you really weren't successful. That's changed. They've shut down. They've completely flipped. We're in a new renaissance. So like it's the independents, it's the individual creators, it's the entrepreneurs that have all these ideas, and now they have all this extra time to figure out what's important to them. Those are the ones people are going to be looking to. That's, who's going to inherit the art world. So find others like you and find a network, find a community. It's incredibly useful to find inspiration, to be your sounding board, to find feedback, to grow, and don't be afraid to be amongst other people that you have no business being, a part of. Like, I have very close friends that I think I have nothing compared to them, but it's incredibly valuable to have that network, to have that, that community. So get involved, find somebody you admire, you like their style, get to know them, tell them who you are, tell them what you do, get advice. Any self-respecting creator or respecting of the of their work will be more than happy to welcome others, so. And then if you are an illustrator, an artist, like character designer or the like, learn graphic design. If you are a graphic designer, learn illustration. They go hand in hand. They're incredibly powerful. In fact, most of my illustration, I actually do most of my digital illustration with graphic design in mind, like composition and layout and colors. And I mean, it's a lifelong process. I mean, I'm obviously not the best at it, but having both sides of the fence in mind make for a much broader skill set that you can apply to this and to this. That's why I can draw a character here for somebody and then turn them into an animated puppet. I can turn them into a cartoon. It's just, they go hand in hand, and they open up so many things when you know both sides.
Solid advice. And speaking of find artists and people that you admire, where can the folks watching at home find you, see and check out more of your products and work, and just, get their daily dose of Nate Howard?
Daily dose.
I like that one.
I mean, Facebook is a big thing. I mean, I've got my own personal page, and then Mammoth Press. They bleed together, to be honest. I probably should separate them more, but Mammoth Press LLC on Facebook, Nate Howard on Facebook, and then you can find the Mammoth Press on Facebook also. I already probably said that. And then the Multicade content. You can see episodes every Wednesday on YouTube at Mammoth Press on YouTube, and the Twitch streams about 2 or 3 times a week. And then the Potbelly Mammoth, although Volume 1 is available on the website, the book at potbellymammoth.com. Volume 2 content, we're about 20 some issues into. Volume 2 is currently on patreon.com/potbellymammoth.
And guys, if you missed any of those links, all of those links and much more will be down there in the description box below. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 16 of Visioncon Live. Now, before we wrap things up, Nate, any final thoughts to leave us on?
No, man, thank you so much for all the work that you've been doing. You've been, I don't know, all of us on the other side of the desk, we've been talking about you and the Visioncon team and Deanna a lot. You guys, this is exactly what the community needs. Just something to keep us relevant and make us feel like cool kids, but also keep in touch with others and inspire them to step up and join us. It's a fantastic work that you guys are doing. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate that immensely, but I will not be undercutting yourself because you are a cool kid, Nate. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 16 of Visioncon Spotlight. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to tune in next time. And until next time, I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, this has been my very special guest, Nate Howard. Check out all the links down below, and always remember, guys, that life's better when you've got friends to share it with.